Estelle Dominguez.
All right, I'm Javier Rodriguez.
Hi, I'm Mr. Jeremy Smith.
My name is Anaya Edwards.
Hi, I'm Nancy Negron.
Hello, my name is Mr. Dunn. I am a teacher at Thomas Edison High School.
My name is Esteban. I am a 12th grade student.
Hey everybody, I am Miss Mitchell, one of the health and PE teachers.
How do you feel black people are represented in film?
I think that we're shying away from what I felt was like the 80s, the 90s, where everyone was a stereotype of themselves or a caricature. And I think we're kind of moving where the representation is a lot more authentic in those films. And I think we can see that by the type of films that are being made.
Who is your favorite black actor and why?
Black actor. All right, pick one. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan.
Why?
Michael B. Jordan. I don't know. He's more of a he's an active actor, and I like his commentary.
You like his commentary? How often do you see black representation in film?
I feel like it's a lot more, again, in modern times than it used to be. I often kind of look to see if there is any kind of racial bias. Not only are you seeing black characters in film, but are they, doing things other than, what we think of as traditional roles of black characters or supporting characters in a cast.
In your opinion, are black and white films created equally?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because it's a lot of like white, like for example, white people that are like seen as like high rise, such as like the one that played Mr. and Mrs. Smith is one, and then it's more white people that's like in films than it is black people.
What is the oldest black film you remember?
The older black film I can remember will most likely be House Party.
What do you think could help this problem of this lack of representation?
I can say like introducing like more black actor, more uprising actor really, so we can see like more views instead of like one person black actor who get basically every role really.
How do you feel black people are represented in film?
How black people are represented in film. I think that question could more be answered based on where and when you look, time periods. But because we don't have that type of time allotted, I'm just going to say, personally, I'm not impressed with the images, the cultural images that are conveyed of black people in pop media, in film, the film industry. I think that the images of many black females, those images are very egregious, and I think the images of the males are very egregious. Both male and females, I would argue, in most film today are looked at in very
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel black people are represented in film?
Black people are represented poorly. They're always depicted as the villain, as the thug, as the thief, always a side character, nothing meant for more, while the white male is depicted as the hero, the knight in shining armor.
Do you think this could change within a decade?
Yeah, I think change is possible, not even just in a decade, within a couple years, a couple months. Every day, things can change. As long as the issue doesn't go silent and people continue to speak up, even when people think that they don't want to be heard. Like, I actually salute people like Monique for not silencing herself, even though people, when she did speak up, people kind of like went against her, or even Taraji P. Henson for still speaking up. So absolutely, I think it could change in a decade and even before that.
What makes a good black film good?
I think steering away from the typical controversy that just because it's a black film, it has to have like drugs and violence. Like a black film really showcasing the talent, like whether it's a comedy or a horror movie, or it could be like a show about drugs or crime and things like that. But to be able to show other aspects of the black culture, I think is what'll really separate what the world is so used to and the stereotypes of black films to show off the talent.
What is your favorite scene from a black film?
I got one. All right, we're back. So favorite scene, I'm going back since you just brought out Get Out. The one scene that really sticks out is when the main character is at the party and Steinfeld's character's there, but he has already been taken over by that white spirit, and he flashes the camera. And I think that scene sticks out because not only is it a pivotal moment in the story where he realizes everything has gone astray, but it also is like symbolic of that envy that a lot of white people have toward people who are non-white, whether it's an envy of hate or envy of wanting or envy of not having. So I think that will go in as one of my favorite scenes.
What makes a good black film good?
Honestly, a film to be good is to be entertaining. A black film, honestly, just entertaining. It doesn't have to be a specific type. It doesn't have to be a specific actor. It just has to have entertaining plot to it, just like a original movie would be. You would wanna be entertained, dragged into the movie. So I wouldn't specifically say you would have to need something to make a black film good, but you just need a entertaining plot to it. That's it.
In your opinion, are black and white films created equally?
No. I feel like for the longest time, African American films were very, very much just like lumped together as one genre. Like this is a black movie, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it was by an African American director, it had primarily African American performers in it. We call it a black movie, but yet movies that were made by white people, it could be a drama, a mystery, a musical, and so on and so forth. But I feel like that too has started to evolve, and movies made by black directors are now marketed to everybody, and same for Asian directors, Latino directors, and all the above.
Do you think this could change within a decade?
Based on how everything else is, not at all, because no one feel like changing anything. It's gonna leave it the way it is, and just like white people do whatever they want to do.
What makes a good black film good?
I think what make a good black film good is not 100% focusing on struggle, but also focusing and on good accomplishment, and such as intelligence, and also good athleticism that isn't exactly basketball. Well, and that's being a more better off good person.
What makes a good black film good?
A good black film would be one where a character is very immersed in his role. There's a lot of movies out there where you'll notice where a big actor from a different movie would bring that character into this movie, which causes the movie to not have that significance.
How often do you see black representation in film?
So I think current day, we see it a lot more than we used to. But I think it can be represented more, especially in my lifestyle because I have a son. So coming down to cartoons and younger children's shows or movies, I think black people could definitely be represented a lot more. And I know certain networks are trying their best with maybe they do things like change the princesses over to African American princesses, and they try to represent the black culture, but I definitely think it could be increased a little more.
In your opinion, are black and white films created equally?
No. If you look at most of the black female images, most of them still look the same: long fingernails, weaves, eyelashes, angry women throwing liquor on each other. They play a sexually promiscuous role, the welfare moms, or the single parent household female. These angry black women, loud, rowdy. You could see it even on Popeye chicken commercials, or even on insurance commercials that come from Geico. You kind of see the roles of these black women. Your name, Phil? Oh, I know that was your name, girl. It's still these stereotypical images of how they want us to be seen or conveyed, which is really akin to how we were looked at in the 1920s and 1930s, right after the Gilded period. We were to play roles in acting, but roles that were to serve as a slave or a prostitute, or this kind of black brute, or just someone that just didn't have an intellectual fiber at all. So the roles are the same, I would argue. When you look at a lot of the Netflix movies, Even if you look at some of the black films cinema in Britain that's coming out now, it's still the same thing. You know, son's playing football, he lives in a hard area, he gets shot, or somebody's locked up, somebody's selling drugs. It's like the same story. And the sequence is very similar from one film to the next. Very rarely do you get films where you kind of have these black heroines that have really cultivated a space for belonging in very salubrious ways. You don't see too much of that. So, yeah, most of them are relatively negative images. I mean, even Tyler Perry, as much as I love Tyler Perry too, I think he's accomplished more than I ever would. But if you look at most of his movies, like, you know, you can see where he himself has issues with black men because he's grown up having issues with black men. And you see most of the black men in his movies, outside of Why Did I Get Married 1 and 2, you know, black men are the worst. They're unemployed, they don't have jobs, they rape women, they sodomize children. So I think anyone that doesn't really know much about the culture of what black men experience in the United States, I think if they see a Tyler Perry film, they may have kind of a skewed perspective and see black men in a very bellicostic way. That's just my perspective of it.
What do you think the future of black film is?
It's only growing. Again, when you tie in that representation, more people being exposed to it, more of it is going to be available. And I think now that we have streaming sites, and you can kind of put anything on Amazon Prime as long as it gets approved, I think we'll have an opportunity where there'll be more black filmmakers, there'll be more black films, and hopefully we move to a period where it's not denoted as a black film or a race plus the name of the movie, and it's just viewed as a movie. But I think that's the future. I think we're moving in the right way to ultimately get where we need to get.
What do you think the future of black film is?
I say the future of black film will most likely be more uprising, really like becoming more better people. You don't really see us being like the villain more often. You won't see us dying first in the movie. You won't see us being like the main protagonist, and you won't see us being main antagonist. And you see it being more the protagonist.
What do you think the future of black film is?
Future, I think it'll just be like regular films, honestly, unless they target a specific subject to it. Like if they were to remake a historical movie about slavery, that would be a targeted topic. But for it to be a regular movie, I don't think it'll be a future. I think it'll just be a regular film.
What do you think the future of black film is?
The future of black film is whatever we shape it to be. I also can't give you a definitive answer on that.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Mitchell, and today I will be talking to you about what I think the future of black film is and about the past. So in the past of black film, it was barely any black films. Like, there were black films, as people will call it, but it was not predominantly black. And it was not made by black people at all. The actors are partly black, and the directors are mostly white. So that tells me that we are not really seen as people. Because as a black person in America, I can tell that we are not equals to white people, and it's obvious that we're not equals because of the way that we are seen on television and the way that we are in general. Black people are not humans to the film industry. The film industry thinks that we are just side characters, villains, hood rats, or just all around not worthy of having a good princess story. Like, you know how you watch a white movie, like just any white movie, regular teen drama, and you see how there's a love story and it has nothing to do with poverty or how they're affiliated with gangs or drugs, and then you try to go to a teen drama that's black and it has to do something with drugs. There's no teen drama that doesn't have drugs, poverty, or like a coming up story. We can never just be happy. Like, why can't we have a happy fairy tale life like the white people do? And I think this problem cannot be solved until the regular race problem is solved in America. Because being in America and knowing the race problem, it will not be solved until race is solved. And racism will never be solved because people have this idea of one race being over another race, and the races never intertwining, having the same level of expectations when it comes to the film. And that is why we cannot have a good future with film. And nowadays they're trying to incorporate more black people that look black, like you can actually tell that they're black, into films, but it's not really working. Like in the past, there was black people in films, but they were not like black. Like when you see them, you don't think, oh, that's a black person. You think, oh, that's a whitewashed black person. They whitewashed us in the film industry so that we do not look ghetto on television. If there's any good story with black people in it, it will be very, very fabricated. And like Zendaya, for example, she is a black woman. She's a black and white woman, and they straightened her hair and messed up her hair for Disney so that she can be like look presentable to be in Disney Channel. And if you are in Disney Channel, watching Disney Channel growing up, there's barely any black people. Like my favorite characters for shows were never black people because they were like not really there. They had barely any lines. So growing up, I wanted to be white because I never really saw black people in the shows. So I thought that black people were never really allowed to go on TV. I thought television was supposed to be only white and that black people were meant to be the side characters until I saw some black films. And then the black films that I did see were based upon gang violence and only bad things, like only things that won't make you happy. All black films are like hood rat things, everyone's dying, there's a lot of gang violence and nothing happy. And that's what I need to change. And that's why I'm making this documentary, because I need to see a change. My idea for this was to see change, and I would like to see change once in a while. The film industry needs more black actors, black directors, just more black representation, period. And in doing this, we need to change our mindsets first. And the end.